Alright, looking at 8.6, graphing linear inequalities in two variables. We've been graphing lines so far, and at this point what's going to happen is we're going to graph a boundary line that's going to be solid or dashed, and then we're going to shade one side of the line, which will represent all the points that satisfy the given inequality. Okay, so on this problem it says use the 2-point method. And so what we're going to do, at least I'm going to try here, is I'm going to use a technique that we learned in this chapter called the intercepts. And so when I put 0 in for x here, what I can do is I can just cover that up because that's going to cancel out. I can cover that x term up with my finger. And what I have is 4y is equal to -12. I use the equal sign while I'm trying to find the point, and so this is one of the points on the line, and then I'm going to put the 0 in for y, and what I have is -2x is equal to -12, and I divide by -2 and I get 6. So I get those 2 points on that'll be on the boundary line. So I'm going to plot those 2 points quickly. I get 6, 0, which is out here, and then 0, -3, which is right here. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is the Hawk system will draw that line for you, but I'm going to actually do some old school work here and draw it with a ruler. I have to look at this symbol right here. This is, and I remember that when the symbol is this way, that kind of makes an L, so that's less. It's less than or equal to, and because of the equal to part, I'm going to make a solid line through here. So I'm going to line up my ruler and make a solid line through there. Okay. So now that I have that solid line there, I have to decide which points make this inequality right here true. Okay. So I'm going to test the point 0, 0. I'm just going to test whether 0, 0 makes this this statement true. So over here I'm going to put in 0 for y, and I'm going to put in 0, move this paper here a little bit for you. I'm going to put in 0 for x, and then I'm trying to decide whether this statement right here is true or not. So I end up with 0 minus 0, so this side is 0, and I kind of read this to myself and think about it. 0 is less than or equal to -12. Now that's false, okay? So one side of the line is going to be false, and the other side then by default is true. So what this side of the line represents is every single point over here, okay? If I put it inside this inequality, would make it true. Okay, so what we end up doing in kind of old school is you would shade this side. Okay, what's going to happen in the Hawk system is they're going to give you a letter A or B, and they're going to ask you to select the letter to shade the appropriate side. Okay, now I want to take a look at this in Desmos. Okay. Desmos is an online graphing tool that I'm going to pull up right here for us. If you just give me 1 second. So here's Desmos, and it's like the capital of Iowa, Des Moines, but Desmos. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to type in that original inequality that we had, which was 4y minus 2x. I'm just using my keyboard to type this. And they do have a little keyboard here for us that we can grab some special symbols here. And it was less than or equal to -12. And what we see here is we get something very similar to what I graphed. Okay, there's the graph in Desmos. There's the graph that I came up with. Okay, so Desmos is a nice way to check your answer, see if you shaded the right side, and see if you use the appropriate solid or dashed line. I can show you what happens if I just change this to strictly a less than symbol, then it's a dashed line, okay? But remember, our problem had the less than or equal to sign, and so it was the solid, okay? All right, that's a little bit of graphing linear inequalities, and we'll move on and look at number 2. Thanks a lot.